Okay, hey kids, yeah, we finally got rid of the yellow walls. Woo! We're chilling. It's nice. Okay, kids, let's get to work. All right, so government is very interested in blockchain technology, obviously. I apologize for the shaky camera. We're trying out something new today. First, we're going to be vlogging, and then, it's still a vlog, but we're going to show you screen capture. Yeah, we're getting a little bit more professional. Woohoo! Okay, so my home state of Illinois, I come from Chicago, has decided to digitize birth certificates. And this is on one hand very exciting, but on the other hand very scary. Because if you've ever read 1984 by George Orwell, this is pretty much what is going to happen in the next 20 years. This is what everybody, I'm just kidding, but seriously, my name is Michael Kubera. Let's talk about Illinois digitizing birth certificates and trying to get all the data from an individual as soon as they're born onto a blockchain so that for the rest of their life, all their information is stored on the blockchain, which on one hand is a very nice, neat, organized way of keeping things, but on the other hand, the government has a lot of control. I don't know. And coming from the side, well, this is why we're on the blockchain. We want a decentralized future where government doesn't have much control. This is very interesting. So let's get into it. Did I say my name is Michael Kubera? I mean, you guys already know that, but... All right, so pretty much the state of Illinois has started work on a new blockchain project. They're working with the startup called Evernym. Sounds a little bit like Everest, I don't know. All right, I'll give him the name short. Pretty much what's going on here is that they're going to allow parents and doctors to keep all the information as soon as a newborn is welcomed into our world. So the doctors, instead of having to write it down and, the parents in the future needing to come back to the hospital or calling up the government's like, hey, we need to pick up some paperwork because, our kid needs it for whatever it is, right? They would be able to log into, I don't know exactly how this would work. I'm guessing you'd be able to log into the computer and, hey, all the information is there in the blockchain. Doctors are able to log in. So this is kind of nice. So wherever you would be around the world, you're able to take that data, even if you're on a trip to China and, for some reason, like you need to access your social security number or your birth certificate or whatever. For example, me, I moved to Poland and my mom needed to send me copies of birth certificates, but the governments here didn't want copies. They wanted the original, like original copies. There was multiple original copies, but still they didn't want scans or faxes. And with this, I think that would solve a lot of problems. On one hand, it's very nice. And the first part of this on CoinDesk, as you're reading it, it seems really cool. In this pilot, businesses and governments would be able to verify and authenticate a citizen's identity by requesting encrypted access to verifiable claims. So they're going through and seeing how this is, of course, going to be all encrypted, and they're going to try and make this as safe as possible, of course, because if somebody attacks and steals all your data, and the cable just fell off the table. That's not good because they have access to everything at that point. You know how like identity fraud works and somebody takes your credit card information, your social security number and all that? Well, this would be like 10 times worse, but then again, I feel they would make it encrypted enough where the average person would be very dissuaded against doing it. And also, if you're going to the government, that's a little bit of a stretch there. Within the proposed framework, existing government agencies would be able to verify a person's registration info at birth. Then they would be able to sign the data related to a person's name, date of birth, blood type, other details. Well, that information is expected to be stored on a distributed ledger that is supposedly tamper-proof, allegedly. So it would only be accessible, like you're only allowed access to it if you're the guardian itself or if you have permission from the legal guardian up until the child turns 18 years of age, or in other areas of the world, like if this would come into play as well, depending on how the laws would be like there. A pilot is expected to be completed in the near term, quote unquote. I don't know what that means, whether it's a couple months or a couple years. I think within the next 2 to 3 years, we should be able to see this. And there is an action, like full out, not just one hospital or 2 hospitals, but multiple. There is an announcement that's planned to be in next month in Helsinki. However, you know, with announcements and stuff like that, it still takes quite a bit for everything to get into action. But still, on one hand, I'm excited, but on the other, I feel like, oh, this just gives governments more areas to kind of pinpoint and be able to do whatever they want with you. So technically, there's nothing new about this technology because everything has been stored on one little data center, or there's multiple data centers somewhere. Actually, let's get back into the camera mode now. Boom. So there's nothing new about this technology if you look at it from the aspect, oh, okay, well, you just store it on a computer, store it on a server, up until you get to the point that says that would only be accessible with consent from a legal. I don't know why I can't read today. I can't do it. I can't do it. I give up. Sorry, bye. That would only be accessible with permission from a legal guardian. So that's the interesting part. That is what makes blockchain technology more personalized. You would be able to access it yourself, or you wouldn't allow other people to use it. So on paper, that sounds really nice, but in the real world, I'm curious to see how this will work. So technically, this is reinventing the wheel because it still has to be on the same database. That still could easily be accessed, but I feel like this, alongside other projects similar to this, will pretty much predict the future, where 10, 20, 30 years from now, anything like all your details are on one blockchain where doctors are able to access it. Okay, you're sick, you go to the doctors, they see, oh, you had these appointments within the past 12 months, this is what blood type you have, this is all the information from when you were born. So on one hand, it's very cool that, yeah, you'll have access to everything in the palm of your hands right then and there on your mobile phone, maybe on like future virtualistic holographic watches or whatever. But on the other, it has to be super secure, and you have to be confident that the government or companies will not do anything with that data, which in today's current day and age, even with something as simple as Google, we don't feel comfortable because there's just, first of all, lies everywhere. Second of all, people want to make as much money as possible, so they sell it to the highest bidder. They sell your data. Data is very valuable because with that, you're able to use it for advertising. You're able to do whatever you want with that. You know who the person is pretty much without ever having to see them. You have specific targeted things going straight at them, and you can be sitting 10,000 miles away, and then you have millions of these individuals. You do not care if you're some CEO of some high-end corporation. I know this article isn't anything special. To be quite honest, I'm biased because I'm from Illinois. I was like, oh, okay, cool, let's see what it is. Here's why I chose it. I just wanted to discuss with you. Have a little fireside chat. Oh, yes. No, it's actually raining today, and it's not the best day ever, but you know what? Let's go into the kitchen. Let's have a comfortable little talk, even though there's echoes and all that. Ooh, the chair's nice, yeah. When I have kids, if I have kids, I don't know, I'd probably be a horrible father and I'd have multiple girlfriends or wives. I'm married, guys. No, I'm not. Some of you have noticed that in the comments. I only do this because why not? I actually don't believe in marriage. So that's why. Okay, anyways, we're getting off topic. Within my lifetime, or rather within our lifetime, I hope that the future will be easier for everybody, that we'll have more opportunities, we'll have more time present because we don't have to spend it on this small little petty things. By that I mean anything from like health records to just dealing with government paperwork. For example, me, to get my citizenship over here, I've had to waste so much time, countless hours driving and calling and waiting for these silly little paperwork. Sometimes you have to drive from one end of the city to the other and then back and forth just because one individual needs to sign this and that. And really, I hope that the future is super well connected, but in a secure way where I'm able to get all the information, everything I want for school, for work, for relationships, from the government, whatever it is, from one source, one giant big source that has everything. However, with that, you're giving up a lot of your control, you're giving up a lot of power. So I'm not sure how this problem is going to be resolved, if it's ever going to be resolved, but we're getting towards the future where everything's getting smarter. Like we have smart houses and smart kitchens and whatever it is, our phones know exactly where we are and it's hard to get away from that. And now with blockchain technology and with cryptocurrencies, we're able to easily transfer money. Government's getting quite interested in that. They don't want citizens to have too much control. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, and I actually try and steer away from that as much as possible because I don't believe in a lot of that silly business. However, there's always a couple that have some inkling of truth to them. I feel we are present with a lot of opportunities, and I'm grateful to be here, and of course with you guys on YouTube. However, I want to feel safe in this world. I want to have comfort, at least a little bit. You know, I try and get out of my comfort zone as much as possible with risky maneuvers, investing and entrepreneurship and all this. However, the future is what excites me most as a pioneer, because we're able to manifest our own destinies. If the government wants, truthfully, like the best for its people, it has good intentions, or at least the people at the top want the best for the majority in the country, they will allow this tech to become decentralized in some forms, at least banking and payments. What do you guys think about this? What do you see as upcoming for the next 5 years? What do you think the government will do about taxes, about having a lot of data out of its control? There's people who are fully able to live off the grid, and with this, some people who are able to properly use this technology, or will be able to use it as it keeps expanding, as it keeps going out into further areas. Well, in general, it's good progress. It's good for the average person out there, but governments and the current day and age are getting worried. Would you want all your information stored on blockchain? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? Do you think it's actually an idea worth investing your time and money into? One thing for certain though is, remember that startup Evernum or whatever we're talking about? Hey, there's gonna be a lot of jobs and a lot of opportunities for making some serious money. Whichever companies start helping and working with the governments, that's where the real money comes into play. Holy moly. If you get something state-sponsored, listen, it doesn't matter what bias you're coming from, whether you're Republican, Democrat, well, no, disregard all politics for quite a second. The main religion is money, my friends. And when you start working with the government, it all depends on where you're coming from, of course. By the way, if you're watching from my other channel, no, I do not work with the government. My name is Mike, or Kubera, or Avi, and you guys all see me tomorrow. We're going to try and pump out some more videos, and we will get back to you in a little bit. So stay safe, make some money, and live your life.